Hey everyone, it's Wendy Hutchinson. I want to check in with you guys, see how you guys are doing, how you're feeling. I wanted to offer some tips today about how to deal with everything that's going on right now. All of us are on, hey Diana, beautiful Diana, I sure miss you. I wanted to talk about today how we can approach our current stay home situation, and also maybe address some of the emotions that are coming up for a lot of people, because when we stay home and we have silence, we're really forced to be present with our family members and also ourselves. Hey Kelly, how are you? I love the work you're doing, by the way. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was the importance of being present in our lives. Because when we're not present, it's really easy to go into fear, and it tends to lead to suffering. So when we're actually getting ahead of ourselves, it creates a lot of anxiety, it creates a lot of fear. The uncertainty and the unknown is difficult for people to process, because people like to have control over their lives, right? Like, we all want to control what's happening. We want to know what's coming. Hey guys, thanks so much for joining. Caddy, so great to see you. Kareem, thank you. Anyway, so it's really important as we're assimilating all of this information coming in, we need to use discernment around what we believe is true. Discernment is key, because we're getting bombarded constantly from a lot of different sources of information around this coronavirus. So it's really important to identify for you what is resonant and what is true for you. Now, it's going to help you decide how to move forward. It's going to help you decide how to process the information. And also, it's going to give you an opportunity to really tune into how you feel about everything. So that's really critical right now. Discernment is key. But I wanted to really talk about today how we can process and respond to our situation currently, because we have to admit we are in a very trying time. It's a global pandemic, and people are in real deep feelings of fear because they're losing jobs. They're under stress financially. Some of our foundation and core fears are being triggered and brought to the surface. So it can be so uncomfortable. So I was watching this documentary about 2 weeks ago, and I think it's called The Biggest Little Farm. And it was about this couple that was farming. They were creating an organic farm from 200 acres of just dry clay, awful soil. And they'd never done it before. They'd never faced the adversity that they faced in creating this farm. And what they learned throughout the process of, facing problem after problem and stress after stress, was the importance of, instead of running in to fix the problem right away and being super reactive, the importance of actually stepping back. Hey, Miney. Hi, stranger. Thanks for joining, Dominique. Anyway, the importance of, when we're in those feelings of angst and stress and worry and kind of that chaotic mind that's happening, it's really helpful, instead of rushing in and trying to solve a problem or fix something or help somebody, or we kind of are like a bull in a china shop, it's really helpful to just take a few breaths and take a step back. And what that looks like is giving yourself space, giving yourself silence, giving yourself an opportunity to step back from the situation and really take a look at what is presenting in your life right now. What's the situation right now in this present moment? Take a step back and observe what's happening around you, and then tune in and connect to how you feel about it. You're not going to do anything about it right now. You're not going to pick up the phone. You're not going to run to the store and hoard groceries. You're not going to respond in a extremely emotional way, because when we're in our heads and we're super emotional, we don't make the best decisions for ourselves. So I'm suggesting, when you're in this intense feeling of maybe fear or anxiety or discomfort, to pause. Just hit pause. Just step back from it emotionally and physically and observe, okay, what is happening right now? So for me, for example, we're on a stay-at-home order. We still can go out and exercise, and parks are still open, but everyone in the world really is being affected by this. So we get to choose how we're going to respond, right? And I choose to respond from a place of balance, harmony, inner peace, and alignment. Because when we're aligned with ourselves and how we feel, and we take a few deep breaths and calm the mind, we can show up as our highest and best selves in every situation. So the first thing to do is create presence and space. So you're just going to take a few deep breaths. You're going to step back and observe what's happening right now. Maybe you've had your kids home for a month or 3 weeks, and they're going crazy and they're driving you bananas. Maybe you're going bananas. Maybe it's just bananas at your house. I don't know. It's really tough to be with our kids when they're in school, but 24/7 for weeks on end, and a stay-at-home order is kind of, it's challenging, right? So just reassess where you're at with your situation. And instead of rushing in and trying to fix and control the outcomes and be that bull in a china shop, step back and observe what's happening. And sometimes, even if you have a really pressing problem, you don't need to solve it immediately. Give yourself some space, maybe sleep on it. Because sometimes I've found, when I step back from the problem and stop trying to work the solution in my mind, because the first thing we do, right, is we try to get in our minds and we start looking at all these angles and solutions and all the things we can do, and we're going to rush in and we're going to do it and we're going to solve it and make this discomfort go away. Because really, what problems are for us are things that are triggering some emotional discomfort, and we don't want to feel it. That's why we want to jump in and solve it. I used to be a chronic fixer, especially with my kids. And what happens when you do that is, one, they don't like it because you're trying to control them and control their outcomes. But two, you don't give them the space to go through what they need to go through. So if you have people around you in your families that are going through some trying times and really processing a lot of emotion, it's great to show up for them, but it's healthy not to fix them. It's healthy to hold space for them. It's not healthy to jump in and try and solve all their problems for them, because there's something that is unearthed as we go through these trying times. There's something within us that starts to be uncovered and unpacked as we go through suffering, as we go through stress, as we go through difficult times. So it's really important for us to come together, align, create space, and step back, observe what's happening around us, and kind of take stock of it all and take it all in. We're not going to just rush in and, like I said, run to the store and hoard groceries, or panic and create that energy in our homes. We want our homes to be a sanctuary. We want to be the eye of the storm. Hey, Kelly, thanks for jumping on. We really want to be calm and really be the eye of the storm, right? So if you can, check yourself. Don't jump in and try and solve the world's problems. Don't jump in and try and control everyone's outcomes by phone, like pick up the phone and tell everyone what they need to be doing. Let's allow everybody some space, okay? Let's step back. Let's take stock of what's happening in our lives. And then once we are in a centered and grounded space, we can make a more informed choice on how we're going to proceed and how we're going to respond to our situation and circumstance. So for me, I've decided we all get to control how we respond to our circumstances, 100%. We get to decide if we're going to be anxious. We decide how we're going to respond to the people in our lives and our situations in our lives. We get to decide if we are going to take an online yoga class or go for a walk, or if we're going to pick up the phone and fight with our mothers or our family members because you disagree on something. You know, everything's a choice. So I've decided, obviously, to get on and support all of you, because I know it's really stressful out there. I know a lot of people are going through a lot of stuff, so I wanted to offer these tips. So I've decided to show up as my highest and best self every day, which means really maintaining inner peace and being calm. So you've got to reach kind of deep into your toolbox. What is it that calms you down? Don't say cocktails. That is not going to calm you down. We all think that's going to calm us down. But once you start hitting the bottle, man, you're not going to be making rational decisions or choices, okay? So you want to create space and presence. You want to take deep breaths. You want some silence so you can process what you're feeling. We have to acknowledge what we're feeling about things. This isn't about saying, okay, and now I'm not stressed, and just diverting our attention, because I see a lot of people getting busy, volunteering, distracting themselves. This whole pandemic, as awful as it is for the people who have it, is an opportunity for us to connect to ourselves. We are being given permission to actually go in and feel what we need to feel. And for people who are so used to keeping themselves distracted and busy 24/7 so they don't have to feel their feelings or look at their feelings, this can be so uncomfortable, right? So uncomfortable. But those emotions are coming up to be released, and they keep kind of knocking, you feel that nudge, you feel that feeling, and then people are used to like stuffing it down, right? Or going to happy hour or going shopping or being out and distracted, right, by life, creating distractions in our lives. Most people aren't used to this presence or this state of being. But this is the biggest gift for you guys, right? Caddy, that's awesome. Yeah, just sit with the situation. So this is an opportunity to rest, to recover, to connect with our children and our spouses. Hopefully you like them. You might find out that they're annoying the shit out of you after 3 weeks of being, stuck together at home. But this is an opportunity to reset and to be mindful of how we want to show up in the world. This is a great opportunity. So pay attention to how you're feeling about everything. And I've found what's so interesting is if I step back and give myself space, I get a lot of like downloads, like intuitive solutions come to me that I never thought I would have thought of, like on my own. It's kind of like when I create space in my being and I just get quiet and I step back and I don't just jump in. I used to be like a tiger, like I just pounce on something. If something was happening with my kids, I'm like, oh, let me fix that for you. I'm like right there. I was like right in their business all the time. I mean, they were just like, Mom, step back, get away from me. And fortunately for them and for myself, I've been on a long journey of self-discovery and recognize that's a fear program, right? When we fear things, we try to control the outcome. And that's when we start becoming the tiger mom or the overbearing in-law or grandma or whatever it is, right? When we're in a space of fear, we go right to control. It's like peanut butter and jelly. It just goes together. Fear and control. So I had to learn to identify my fear. Like, what is the fear about? Where is this coming from? And a lot of times, or 100% of the time, fear is an anxiety about something that hasn't happened yet. So our mind just starts racing. Our mind is thinking about everything that could possibly go wrong. I could run out of toilet paper. It is a possibility. But your mind just starts freaking out, right? And you start spinning and spinning. And pretty soon, you're so deeply in that groove, spinning out, that you don't know how to break that pattern and get out. You're just in this loop. And when you're in that loop of panic or stress or fear, you keep responding in an unhealthy way because you're trying to control everybody and everything around you. The truth is, all you can control is yourself. 100%. The only thing you have control of is yourself and the choices you're going to make on how you're going to respond to your circumstances right now. That's the one thing we have control over. And it's really important to create that space I was talking about, to connect to your heart space, to come back to center and really tune in to how you feel about everything. Allow yourself to feel what you need to feel, but also create the space so that you can actually allow intuition to guide you. Allow your heart to guide you. You know, it's really important to create space and silence so you can actually hear what your guides and what your higher self is trying to tell you in these circumstances. Now, if we are in a space of presence, which means being present to this now moment, which is right now, we're together on Facebook, and thank you so much for joining me. That's it. That's where we are. That's where our attention is. That's where our energy is. And when you are in that present state, you have no space or time to worry about the future, and you have no energy or attention being placed on your past. Because what I've found is a lot of people are dragging all of their history with them into this present moment. All their stories about how they weren't enough, about how they had this trauma, about how difficult life has been, about, you know, this victim mindset. All that weight people are dragging into this now moment and then projecting fears into the future moment. And that is so unhealthy. And we do it subconsciously. A lot of it's just programming. We're just so used to responding to life in a certain way. And it's just constant programming, right? So what we're being asked to do now is to create our lives, to put down the past and choose you, to choose to create a magnificent and amazing life. What does that look like? That looks like you creating space to be in this now moment and asking yourselves, how can I show up for myself right now and be a better version of me? How can I not be reactive in my response to my circumstances? And we are all under incredibly difficult circumstances, whether it's financial, physical, emotional. How can we move forward and be the highest and best person in this now moment? And then you go to the next moment, and you go to the next moment. And when all your attention is focused right here on the here and now, you're not worried about the future and you're not worried about the past. You are just being very present to your children, to yourself. What do you need? Maybe you need a sea salt bath right now to pull some of those toxins out. Maybe you need to hide if you have little kids and they're like, Mom, 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 every 5 minutes for like the last 3 weeks and you're losing it. It's okay to put on a movie and go to the bedroom for 5 minutes and take a few minutes for yourself, you know. So anyway, to recap what I'm saying, when we're faced with challenges, we get to choose how we respond. Being calm and not reactive is the first thing we need to do. To calm down, we need to take deep breaths and create some silence so that we can drop into our heart. If you don't know how to do that, if you are just always in your mind 110% of the time, a way to drop into your heart is really just to bring your hands to heart center and just place your attention right there where your thumbs are meeting your heart and just feel that. Feel yourself, feel your heart, feel your connection to you. And then ask yourself, how do I feel about this right now? And how am I going to move forward and respond? The next thing I talked about was actually just stepping back and giving yourself some space and silence, because in the silence, that's when we get a lot of our intuitive information. And a lot of times solutions present to us that we never would have come up with on our own. They're just kind of dropped neatly in our lap. And you're like, oh my gosh, there it is. I never would have thought of that, you know? But if we always have too much noise and chatter and we're distracted and busy all the time, we're not giving ourselves the space to actually hear our inner guidance. We're just filling our lives with noise. So it's really important. Another incredible, and this is the last I'm going to talk about, thing is detachment. I never realized until I went on this journey how powerful the tool of detachment is. And detachment is the ability to step back and observe without actually being emotionally triggered and in it. So detachment has been so powerful for me. It's like you're sitting on the couch watching a movie and all of this craziness is going on and you are feeling emotionally like you're in the movie a little bit, but you're not in the movie. You know what I'm saying? So you're detached and just observing. And once I became detached and more of an observer of my life, I was able to kind of reduce and remove that emotional charge. And once you kind of unplug from that emotional hook that's being created by something your kids are doing or something at work or something being triggered about money or finances or your living situation, or you have a dog that drives you crazy, whatever it is, if you can detach and just become an observer, it is so powerful because it takes that emotional hook. It kind of pulls that emotional hook out of you, and then you're not so reactive and responding in kind of a hysterical or not from a place of alignment and balance, you know. So detachment is really, really huge. It's a huge tool. I didn't realize how important it was until I started walking my path and I realized how reactive I've been in my life. So to all my family and friends, sorry about that. I'm a lot calmer now. I'm a lot more present in my life. I'm a lot more empowered. When you can detach from the emotional triggers in your life, you become incredibly empowered. And from that space of alignment and empowerment, everything is possible for you. And you become the eye of the storm. So when you find that true alignment and balance and harmony within yourself, by doing whatever it takes to get there, and I'm telling you, it's not a mental thing, it's a physical, emotional, and spiritual alignment with yourself. When you get to that mastery space, nothing external in your life will trigger you. You're going to start observing it all like you're watching a movie and go, wow, that's a shitstorm happening right there. This is ridiculous. Or, wow, that person is really, suffering or emotional or whatever, but you become this great observer, and it's all just happening like a hurricane around you, and you just become this complete neutral eye of the storm. You're the calm in the chaos. So become the calm in the chaos. You want to remember to check in. How am I feeling about this? Decide and choose how you're going to respond to this. How are you going to respond to this circumstance, whatever it is? Are you going to elevate and stay above the line? Are you going to be higher vibrational in how you respond? Are you going to show up with love, or are you going to show up in a lower vibrational way of judgment? Are you going to elevate and stay above the line and go to the pantry and eat something healthy? Or are you going to go through drive-through at McDonald's? That's not higher vibrational food, people. Just saying. You want to try and stay aligned. You want to nourish your body. You want to nourish your soul. You want to nourish your mind with higher vibrational stuff, especially in stressful times. Be mindful of your thoughts. Be mindful of your behavior patterns. Be mindful of what you're feeding your body. Be mindful of how you're treating your body. Be mindful of all of those things, because all of those things contribute to your alignment and your ability. When you're healthier from a mind, body, and soul perspective, you can actually achieve that place of presence. You can achieve that place of detachment. Plant-based foods are great, Caddy. Oh, Cynthia, sometimes you need a Krispy Kreme donut. I mean, it's okay. We're all human. I get in the cookie jar far more than I want to admit. But anyway, I just wanted to get on today and encourage you all to show up as your highest and best selves. Everything is a choice. I know each and every one of you has what it takes to get through this with grace, with alignment, with heart and love for yourselves and for all the people around you. You're all doing a great job. You know, some days you're the hammer, some days you're the nail. Some days you're killing it, and some days you're just getting pounded by life, you know. But if you can always just kind of reset and come back, I know you guys can get through anything. And I was running a networking meeting. We did a Zoom meeting, and what I said to them all was, we have all overcome every challenge in our lives to this point. Hey, Sandra, so good to see you on here. Thank you. But we have literally all overcome every adversity and challenge in our lives to this point. And a lot of us have been through some intense shit, right? So if we could survive our lives to this point, we will survive this. So I don't want to, go on and bore you all. But I wanted to show up today for you, tell you I'm thinking about you all. You're all doing an amazing, amazing job. And keep the faith. Let's keep love in our hearts. Let's be kind to ourselves and our fellow man. Let's socially distance and be 6 feet from the people around us. And keep going, you guys. You guys are awesome. I know all of you that have jumped on today, and I'm so honored that you decided to spend a few minutes with me. I get really nervous with these Facebook Lives. I have to kind of psych myself up still. I don't know why. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to private message me. You guys, if you need a donut, go have one. I'm not saying don't eat donuts or cookies, but let's try to be the best that we can be today, okay? I love you all, and I'll talk to y'all later. But definitely message me if you guys are going through anything. I'm here for you all, and I'd love to support you through this difficult time. Also, the energy work that I'm doing, Marconic Energy, I'm just going to say it's so helpful in just pulling density and pulling things that aren't really aligned with you out of your field and kind of smoothing you back energetically. So reach out if you feel called to having a distance session. All right, guys. So great connecting with y'all. I love you. Be kind to yourselves and take care. Bye.